Here are 3 simple tips to improve and rank up in Overwatch. Tip number 1. Learn how to be an effective communicator. Guys, Overwatch is a team-based shooter and you need to become an effective communicator in order to see success as you move up the ranks. Oftentimes, the biggest hurdle for a lot of players is just joining the voice chat to begin with. Now, a lot of you may not be the biggest fans of talking with people online or are just a bit shy. That's okay. But the only way you can get better is with consistent practice. So from here on out, I want you to make it a habit to join voice chat at the start of every ranked game. If you quickly realize that your teammates are going to be the toxic type or are making fun of you for your voice or anything like that, you don't need to leave the voice chat entirely. You can just individually mute those toxic players in your team. In most cases, it's just 1 or 2 guys ruining the experience for the team. So just mute those players and try to communicate with your other teammates. Oh, and if those toxic teammates were really over the top, don't ever forget to report them. Alright, step number 1 complete. You're in the voice chat lobby. Now what do you say? Now a lot of players say that they don't like to give voice comms because they're either scared they're gonna say the wrong thing or they don't know what to say at all. Guys, you don't need to be a pro level IGL to have good voice comms. It's actually a lot easier than you think. The first thing I like to tell players is to just give your teammates information that you have. This can be anything from letting them know if you're really close to your ultimate, if your sleep dart is on cooldown, or if you just saw Winston use his jump pack. Giving your teammates easy information like this allows them to make plays based off of it. If you let your Genji know that your nano isn't ready yet, he isn't gonna dash into the enemy team with his ult. Unless you're in gold, then I wish you good luck. Like for me, I've been playing a ton of Zarya this season, and the biggest contribution I can give my teammates is letting them know when my bubble is ready. At the start of fights, I'll let my Reinhardt know that I have bubble ready so he can push up more aggressively, and when it's on cooldown, I'll let him know exactly how many seconds are left so he knows he needs to play a bit more passive till it comes up. The simple act of letting my Reinhardt know every time I have my bubble up goes a long way in effectively pushing chokes and winning team fights.
The biggest thing that differentiates most players is definitely just communication and using your mic and kind of maximizing that and calling even if you don't think it's right. I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle with is that they don't want to call because they're afraid to be wrong and they don't want to make
Right.
mistakes. But that's literally the only way you learn. It's just life lessons at that point.
Another huge part of becoming an effective communicator for your team is target calling. People tell me all the time that they don't call targets because they don't know who on the enemy team is the best target to focus. Here's what you need to understand. Calling a target is much more valuable than not calling any targets at all. If nobody on your team is calling a target, just target call the first enemy you see. It may not be the right target per se, but having your whole team focusing fire on a single target, even if it's not the right one, is a lot more useful than everyone shooting different enemies. With how high health pools and healing is in this game, if your team isn't focusing a single target, you'll end up in a lot of scenarios where it feels like no one on the enemy team is dying. And by the way, you probably just want to go for the tanks first in most cases, because the tanks are like the bottom of a Jenga tower. Once they go, the whole team crumbles afterwards. Alright, tip number 2. You need to learn how to group up. Can you believe that this game has been out for nearly 5 years and I still need to tell my teammates every time to group up before they start a team fight? Guys, I reiterate, this is a team-based game. You can't get much done on your own. When your team is together, it's much easier to focus down the same target and push through choke points. And also, one of the biggest advantages of staying together is that you can help and protect each other. If you're playing Ana and you keep crying about how the enemy Genji is killing you, but you keep positioning yourself halfway across the map in Narnia where no one can help you, hate to break it to you, but you kinda deserve to die in those cases. You need to be playing within reasonable range where your teammates can help you if you're being targeted or flanked. Now, that doesn't mean standing on top of each other's shoulders, but being in a place where it's easy for you to help each other at a moment's notice. And also remember to never, ever, ever, ever let the enemy team stagger you. What is staggering, you ask? Basically, it's when your team's respawns are out of sync and you keep going in one by one by one, constantly dying and never allowing the team to fully push in as 6. This is an incredible waste of time, and in Overwatch, time is one of your greatest resources. If you or one of your teammates die early on before the team fight to a random headshot from a Hanzo, make sure your team knows that you need to wait for that person to respawn so you can go in as 6. Waiting for that Hanzo to respawn is way faster than keep going in 5v6 or 1x1 constantly dying, never getting a good team push down. Tip number 3, learn to create space and capitalize on it. What is space in Overwatch? Space is the effective area where you can move up with minimum danger. Now typically you'll hear that it's the tank's job to be making space. Now while this is for the most part true, creating space isn't only limited to your tank players. But let's start with the tank players just because. For all my tank players listening to me right now, listen to my next 2 words carefully. Just go in. The biggest mistake tank players make at the lower levels is standing at a choke point praying that one of their DPS gets a pick so that they can go in. This is not how it works. As a tank player, you do not wait for your DPS to get a pick for you to go in. You go in to give your DPS space so that they can take angles and effective positioning to where they can get picks. You see the difference? Warning, Rhine players, this doesn't mean you charge in every fight. This is where it all goes back full circle to communication. Tip number 1, if you're playing Reinhardt or Winston, you need to be telling your teammates that you're going in so that they know they need to quickly follow up to help you. If you have a Zarya on your team, a quick comm would be, I'm going in, I'm charging in, bubble me and follow me. This way, your team knows exactly when you're going in and can effectively follow up on the space you created so that you don't die instantly and they can push in. Now my DPS players can make space too. If you play damage spam characters like Junkrat on Hanzo, it's really easy to break through barriers, allowing your team to push up more confidently. Now if you're playing a sniper character such as Widow or Ashe, you can often take an aggressive angle which forces the enemy to reposition and once again give your team the confidence to move in. Now, my fellow support mains, I'm one of you. As the backbone of the team, there isn't much you can do for your team to create space most of the time. But if you do happen to be playing Zenyatta, be sure to be calling every Discord target to allow your team a better chance to take down a single target and then push in. And support players are typically the best position to be doing shot calling. So just once again, be sure to be giving your team as much information as possible and call targets. Hey, look at you. You made it this far into the video. Wow. Because of that, I'm gonna be giving you a 4th tip to improve and rank up in Overwatch. Subscribe to my YouTube channel down below. Guys, I already have a catalog of hero guides that will help you to excel at your favorite Overwatch heroes, as well as another entire video that goes more into depth in ranking up in Overwatch. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash the like button with your forehead and only your forehead. Take care, talk to you next time, and peace.